That's the thumbnail right there. Oh shit, is that the book? That is the book. Easter eggs, baby, let's go. Damn, I missed some stuff because I was acting like a fool. I mean, she's possessed and she's still trying to cook the kids an omelet. That's queen shit right there. Oh shit, this chick is crawling on the wall. Turn off iTunes and turn around, bitch. Who's this Justin Bieber looking motherfucker? Possessed mom plays eeny meeny miny mo with her kids to decide which one to attack. I didn't know I needed a scene like that until right now. I'm watching Evil Dead Rise as soon as possible and it's going to be peak.
I watch so you don't have to.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
So just days after I cautiously put Evil Dead Rise on my most anticipated movies of the year list, we have our first official trailer for that movie, and I have to admit, I'm a little bit more intrigued now.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Part of me wants to write this movie off, because there's no Ash character, presumably, similar to how there's no Sidney in Scream 6. And also, similar to Scream 6, this could be interpreted as a lame attempt by Hollywood to refresh the series by simply just moving it to an unfamiliar location. But to me, after watching the trailer, something feels different about Evil Dead Rise.
No shit.
And by different, I mean it looks like it's keeping with tradition and honoring the legacy of this franchise. It did feel a lot like the 2013 Evil Dead remake in tone while watching the trailer, more so than it did the original movies actually. Now some people might take issue with that, I don't. I've always said that 2013 remake was kind of hindered by the Evil Dead name and the bad stigma of remakes, but when you look at that movie like its own thing, it's actually a pretty decent horror movie.
That makes sense.
But you see, Evil Dead Rise doesn't have that remake stigma hanging over it. And to my knowledge, it's not meant to be a true legacy sequel, meaning its intention is not to erase movies from the timeline that a lot of people actually love.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
I don't know where this movie sits on the timeline or if it's actually connected to the original 3 Evil Dead movies, but frankly, I don't think it matters. And I really don't think I need it to connect in any way other than the book, of course. Taking the concept of Evil Dead and showing me that these horrific things can also happen to some random family who stumbles upon that oh-so-mysterious book. That concept is intriguing to me. The fact that we are seeing these things play out in a more contemporary setting than we are used to seeing in the franchise. That is also intriguing to me.
I like it a lot.
The Evil Dead movies always had this added dimension of isolation that honestly worked to the movie's benefit. But what happens when things aren't so isolated? Is there a threat of this phenomenon spreading on a larger scale? I think that concept is exciting to think about. The story appears to revolve around this family living in an apartment building, and the mother becomes possessed when people start fucking around with that book, and the kids are now in a fight for their lives against the one person who is supposed to protect them. Now we've seen that dynamic in horror movies before, in movies like The Conjuring, or The Shining, or Amityville Horror, but in Evil Dead Rise it feels like everything is getting amped up to 11, or at least it should be. It appears that they are really leaning into the aesthetically pleasing new location of a rundown old apartment building.
Yeah, it's a real shithole. You'll love it.
You kind of get to see the mom stalking people, going through the elevator shaft and coming down through the ceiling tiles. Lots of potentially great horror moments using a unique location for this franchise. This is how you use a new location to your benefit and not just treat it as a gimmick. Again, it just feels different yet similar for Evil Dead. As always, I'm expecting a lot of murder and mayhem and a lot of blood and gore, because Evil Dead really wouldn't be complete without those things.
Groovy.
It will be interesting to see if any of the dark comedy creeps its way back into the franchise. From the trailer, it looks very serious, which I would not be against at all, by the way. But there has always been a somewhat comedic side to these movies, even if it's done in a very subtle way. And a lot of that had to do with the genius of Sam Raimi and the performance of Bruce Campbell, both of which are producers on this film, by the way. So take that for what it's worth.
Hail to the king, baby.
I usually don't put a lot of stock in producing credits because sometimes it just feels like they're attaching the name to the project just to put asses in the seats. But the trailer really didn't mention Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, but it does start by saying from the creators of the horror classic. I did think that was a different approach and maybe a sign of good things. All I know is new director Lee Cronin has enormous shoes to fill with this project.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Overall, I'm looking forward to Evil Dead Rise a little bit more now. Am I setting myself up for disappointment? Maybe. But I am going to try to enjoy the ride while it lasts. And hope that maybe, finally, we will get a modern sequel to an iconic horror franchise that is actually worth watching for once. Is that too much to ask for, Hollywood? Is it? Maybe it is.
Y'all be cool. Right on.